Hello everybody, you are watching the Political Vigilante. My name is Graham Elwood. Progressive Comedy Tour, Florida, January. We just added some other tour dates. Go to grahamelwood.com and of course support the show at the Patreon, guys. You get early access to the podcast, you can submit an article, you can do a Skype interview, or just a couple bucks a month supports the show. You get some bonus content, it's really cool. Exclusive videos, the whole shot. So one of the things I've talked about is how we can take down the power structure and challenge them at every turn. Well, one of the things we've talked about is the Keystone and Dakota Access pipelines. Pipeline opponents make gains in midterms as federal judge halts Keystone XL pipeline. This is by Alan Brown and The Intercept. This is big. So, as I've said, we got to do death by 1,000 cuts, man. We got to challenge them at every turn because they find every little corner to weasel in on. That's what they do. That's how they work. So we've got to find any way to get in and block them. Anyway, a U.S. District Court in Montana last week ordered to halt to all the work at the Keystone Pipeline, the fossil fuel project that inspired a revival of direct action protest tactics across the USA. It's what Hedges talks about. Legal action, nonviolent protest, walking out. It's stuff like this. It's stuff like this. This is a win. TransCanada's Keystone XL pipeline would pump 830,000 barrels per day of sands oil from Alberta, Canada to a transfer point in Nebraska, increasing pipeline capacity, which decreases transportation costs, is key to assuring that the oil, which is expensive to produce, remains commercially viable. When the State Department originally studied the project in 2014, crude oil sold for nearly $100 a barrel. Today, it sells for around $60. The sludgy tar sands oil is a high carbon emitting variety that has proven difficult to clean up when it spills into waterways. The Dakota Access Pipeline's already spilled. In his decision, Judge Brian Morris, who was appointed by Obama, emphasized that Trump simply discarded prior factual findings related to climate change to support his course reversal. He added, an agency simply cannot disregard contrary or inconvenient factual determinations that made it in the past. You see why we all progressives got so mad when the Democrats just rubber stamped a bunch of judicial appointments by Trump? See how this judge was appointed by Obama, who, you know, let Dakota Access Pipeline happen. He finally shut it down at the end, but this is the difference. All these Trump-appointed judges, this is what happens. The Democrats cheat in the primary. They run these campaigns that's just resistance and platitudes. 60% of the country doesn't have $1,000 in savings. 80% of the country is living paycheck to paycheck, and everyone's struggling. And they were just called deplorables. And we wonder why Hillary lost. See how important it is to actually have progressives in there, not just rubber stamping corporate Democrats. See, this was an Obama-appointed judge. So the next time something like this happens, and it's a Trump-appointed judge, what do you think's going to happen? What do you think's going to happen? According to the Indigenous Environmental Network, a survey of cultural resources could be the most time-consuming aspect of the judge's order, especially if it is done with significant consultation with tribal nations. How many culturally significant sites might be located within the unsurveyed area is unclear. There are sites out there that we haven't told people about because people like to go in and steal stuff and sell it on the black market. A pipeline opponent and member of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe in South Dakota, and indigenous leaders may be hesitant to offer information for the purpose of helping a pipeline company they oppose figure out its least controversial pathway. especially considering that such information hasn't always prevented companies from bulldozing on through anyway. So it's a little victory. It's good. It's got stopped. But this is, you know, the pipeline company. That's what they'll do. Oh, we can't go through a white town. We can't go through Grand Rapids. We can't go through those towns. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. But, you know, tribal, sacred lands, meh, so what? That's their attitude. South Dakota, one of 3 states through which the Keystone XL pipeline passes, saw numerous anti-pipeline organizers run for local office, and some won. Was it a blue wave? No. But we got a lot of progressive wins. And the other thing we learned from this election, progressive ballot measures, progressive referendums won by 60-some% of the vote. So the Democratic Party better wake up. The centrist Democrats, most of them got crushed. Progressives won. Progressive policies won overwhelmingly. 80% of the country wants Medicare for all. 80% of the country. So the Democratic Party stopped taking fracking money and oil money just like the Republicans do and actually put forward a Green New Deal. Then we put all this shit to bed. But there's some progress that was made. Julian Bear Runner, a 33-year-old who was arrested at Standing Rock, was elected president of Pine Ridge's reservation Ogalalsu tribe. A state Senate seat was won by Red Dawn Foster, the sister of Red Fawn Fallis. I did a story on her. She's been arrested illegally, in my opinion, for protesting at Standing Rock. The Dakota Access Pipeline opponent who received the most serious prison sentence among the charged during the fight after a gun Fallis had been carrying fired when police tackled her. Yeah, they're claiming she shot at cops. That's how they do that. But this is significant. This is a win. It's a good one. And it's what happens when the resistance that came out of the Standing Rock tribe, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she was at Standing Rock. Bernie Sanders and Standing Rock are one of the things that motivated her to run for Congress. Which is why when she was with protesters outside of Pelosi's office last week wanting a Green New Deal, it was like right on. And of course she's criticized. The right calls her, oh, she's a socialist. But even the corporate Democrats, even all these Pelosi backers are like, stay away from Nancy Pelosi. She's battle tested. You mean battle tested you mean sells us out to the corporate Democrats. Battle tested. It's unreal. They play the sexism card. That's why you don't like Pelosi. Well, wait a minute now. Here's a young Latino woman. Oh, so maybe it's that kind of Hillary bourgeois white feminism of we want wealthy white women. We're going to yell girl power and diversity, but we're going to make sure that the women of color don't, you know, we want the first female president to be a white woman. Then we'll let women of color up. It's such nonsense. They're bullshit platitudes, and we get real resistance. But this is good, because this is everything that is, you know, Standing Rock. People were aware of that. And even after the regular media stopped covering it, the video footage that was coming out of there was pretty alarming. And as we know, they hired Tiger Swan, who is a security company that was deployed in the Middle East to use tactics against terrorists. They employed those same tactics against the Standing Rock protesters. So it's good. It's good that people are getting involved. It's good that people are fighting and actually resisting, not that fake-ass resistance that the Democratic Party likes to do, but real resistance. And blocking these dicks from building their bullshit pipelines. They're trying to build one in Louisiana. They're trying to build one in Pennsylvania. And they're arresting protesters and calling them agitators and terrorists and all this other bullshit. We got to resist them at every turn. At every turn. Because when we do, we start winning. Thank you for making Gotham great again.